Have you ever felt like the world was against you? Like no matter what you did, things just kept getting worse? If you've ever been in that place, then you need to hear the story of a man named Job. His tale is one of the most powerful and profound stories ever told about faith, suffering, and the nature of God. Job was a man who had it all. The Bible describes him as blameless and upright, a man who feared God and shunned evil. He was incredibly wealthy, with a huge family, thousands of sheep and camels, and a vast estate. By all accounts, he was living the dream. But then, in a single, devastating day, everything was taken from him. First, raiders stole all his oxen and donkeys and killed his servants. Then, a fire from the sky burned up all his sheep and the shepherds with them. After that, another group of raiders carried off his camels and killed more of his servants. And finally, the most heartbreaking news of all, a mighty wind collapsed the house where his children were feasting, and all 10 of them were gone. Can you even imagine the depth of that loss? His wealth, his livelihood, and his entire family wiped out in an instant. Most people would crumble. They would curse the heavens, shake their fist at the sky, and lose all hope. But what did Job do? He tore his robe, shaved his head, fell to the ground, and worshipped. He said, "Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised." But his trials weren't over. Next, Job was struck with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He was left sitting in ashes, scraping his skin with a piece of broken pottery. His own wife, seeing his misery, told him, "Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." But Job replied, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" This is when his 3 friends, Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar, came to comfort him. At first, they just sat with him in silence for 7 days and 7 nights, because they saw how great his suffering was. But when they finally spoke, their comfort turned into accusation. They were convinced that Job must have sinned. They believed in a simple formula: God rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked. So, in their minds, Job's immense suffering had to be the result of some secret, terrible sin. For chapter after chapter, they debated. His friends insisted he must repent for whatever he did wrong. But Job maintained his innocence. He wasn't perfect, but he knew he hadn't done anything to deserve this level of punishment. He cried out to God, demanding an explanation. He felt abandoned and confused. Why was this happening to him? He longed for a chance to plead his case directly before God. And then, after all the arguments and all the pain, God finally answered. But not in the way Job expected. God didn't give Job a neat list of reasons for his suffering. Instead, he spoke from a whirlwind and challenged Job. He asked him, "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place?" God revealed his immense power and wisdom, showing Job just how small and limited human understanding really is. In the face of God's majesty, Job was humbled. He realized he had been speaking of things he did not understand, things too wonderful for him to know. He repented for his arrogance, not for a sin that caused his suffering, but for questioning God's wisdom. And in the end, after his faith was tested by fire, the Lord restored Job's fortunes. He gave him twice as much as he had before. He blessed him with a new family, 7 sons and 3 daughters, who were said to be the most beautiful in all the land. Job lived a long and full life, seeing his children and their children to the 4th generation. Job's story teaches us that suffering isn't always a punishment for sin. Sometimes it's a test of faith. It reminds us that we may not always understand God's plan, but we can always trust in His ultimate goodness and sovereignty. It's a powerful message of hope for anyone going through a difficult time. Thanks so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content that explores the deep questions of life and faith. See you in the next video.